What's up, guys? Today's conversation, I have a prompt for you, which is what does it take to make $100,000 net on eBay? That's $2,000 a week profit. So I am currently there. So I would like, to basically ask everyone around the horn what it would take to get them from where they are right now to $100,000 net per year. So Brian, I'm going to put you on the spot this morning. What do you need to do differently to go to that 100K a year net?
Good morning. Um, I guess at 100K net, I'd probably need to, I don't know, probably about 150K gross. And right now I'm probably on eBay, probably like 65,000. So I need to more than, um, hmm. So, I mean, obviously I'm gonna have to get more listings up is the answer is the answer because what I've been doing, the 21 a day for about the past 3 weeks is working. Like I'm getting consistent sales, so I just need to keep inching that up, and uh, also keep learning the brands because I haven't been in clothing that long, so I'm still in the learning process. So make sure I'm spending time studying the solds each night to be able to get that ASP, up and also get the volume up. So probably I don't know. I probably need to get maybe 50 listings a day up, and I think that would probably convert to 150 grand. I'm guessing.
Okay. Yeah, that's so okay. And how many listings? You're at like 20 listings a day?
Yeah, 21 a day.
So what does it take to go from 21 to 50?
Um, it's kind of hard, but like if I was just doing eBay, like I don't think I'd have a problem. But I'm also doing replenishables and probably two times. I'm making two times more on the replenishables than I am on eBay.
Hmm.
Um, so I like what I'm seeing is it's coming down to niching down. I know we talk a lot about doing it for fun versus just becoming an expert in one field. And like the listings are getting faster because like what Tech and Sports always says, sell similar off your own. Like I'm finding more and more items that I'm able to do that. And when I'm able to create a listing off of one of my listings, as he says, the perfect listing, where you've made sure you've got all the specifics, those go fast. So I think as I list more and get more items listed, it'll just get quicker. And like I was trying to rush the process and it overwhelmed me, and then I just kind of shut down. So like I just want to add one more a day, each month. And if there's days where I have more time, extra time, then I can get more drafts put in the bank, like what we were talking about. Build up those drafts in the bank. Like if you want to take a day off or you want to go on vacation, or in this case, just to get to that 50 a day quicker.
I don't think you quite need 50 a day, but maybe if you only did 4 or 5 days a week or 3 days a week. But the reason why I think this is a good exercise is because I want everyone to think about setting up a system that 50 a day. Actually, I think it's around 200 a week at $10 profit is it $100,000 a year? So everyone in this group set up your company so it can list 200 items a week without you. I know that sounds ominous, but it's not. 200 is 40 a day. Everyone in this group can do 40 in a day. Anyone can do that. Just one, if that's all you did, Brian, instead of 21, you could do 40. But getting somebody else to help you with that's a whole new challenge. But I'm challenging everybody in this group to get to 40 a day with a helper. And I think that you can be even more efficient than that. I actually think maybe everyone write this number down. I think you can do 100 a day pretty comfortably with 3 people. Okay, that's obviously a small operation, you and one other person could do it. If it was you, the owner, if it was an owner operator, you could just have one person and an assistant. But if you want to be, you can take a 52-week vacation, then you need three people who know what they're doing. I think a photographer, um, a measurer, describer, grader, sorter person that gets the item ready to list, that person, the photographer, and then the person who lists could also do customer service and shipping. I think that's just three people. Everyone in this group can do that. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think everyone can do that. Cool. Let's go with Christine. Christine, good morning. What does it take for you to make $100,000 profit a year? That's 8,000 a month.
That's a lot. Honest, I don't know. I truly don't know.
Where are you at right now?
Where am I at right now?
Mm-hmm.
About two,
Okay.
about 2,000 a month.
Okay.
So
So,
doubling that would be, I have to, my system, I get my system going because
mm-hmm,
one of the really big things is getting your system down.
mm-hmm,
And I want some systems down and then another system, like I did my little shipping station over here and it's not working. I fixed it. I thought it was going to work, but it's not working. So I've got to, that 2 second rule, just improve it, improve it, improve it. But this one's going to need about a 5 minute rule, improvement because it's just not working. So I do have a plan for that. So I have to continue to fix my systems because I'm struggling getting 15 up a day.
yeah,
No, I'm doing it, but I'm not doing it 15 a day. I'm doing it like 20, 18, 10. You know,
yeah.
it's there's no system and it's stressful. And I know that systems work. It's just a matter of getting myself in there and continue. I'm in there, just continuing to tweak it to where the system rolls. Right now, it's a big headache, but it's in the growing part, and I'm as much as I don't like it, I like it.
So this is great, Christine, because and I'm not saying everyone needs to make $100,000 a year. I'm just saying that I just want everyone to think about what it would take to do that. That way they can reverse engineer whatever amount they need. So I kind of came up with a number of 7 minutes. If you can do everything, that's just like get the item in, determine what it is, describe it, measure it, list it, photograph it, ship it in around 7 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes. That's good enough. That at that point you're solid. Yesterday though, I was sort of triggered because I was on this community app, or not community, Clubhouse, and this lady was saying she's on her phone all day, wakes up with her kid, she's on her phone, sharing her closet or answering responses on eBay. All day long, she's on her phone. At night, when they're watching TV, she's on her phone. She's in her bed on her phone. And I'm like, what a miserable way to live. That sounds horrible. You don't have to do that. That you can be done at like 3 or 4 o'clock and not have to work the rest of the day if you're just efficient. Nobody
Mhm.
wants to work all day. I hate that saying. I'd rather work 80 hours a week on my business than 40 hours for somebody else. I don't think that's true. If you are making good money at a 9 to 5, you would prefer that over not making very good money over 80 hours working for yourself. It depends on how good you are at your job. So that being said, I think the efficiency, somebody in the chat is saying they don't have boundaries set up with their family. That's really, really important. If you tell your family, I'm going to work on my business for 4 hours, don't bother me. But then after I'm done, I'll hang out with you the rest of the day and I won't be working on my business. You can actually set up that boundary. I think most people, when they're working, they're thinking about their family. When they're with their family, they're thinking about working. Stop doing that. When you work, and then when you hang out with your family, don't be distracted. And I was saying, somebody said that I should have my wife on because she's not forgiving when it comes to spending time with her. She's like, if you want to hang out with me, hang out with me. Don't have your phone out. Don't bring your phone. work, stay at work another 3 hours and then come home and then spend, if you have to work till 9 p.m., that's cool. Just come back and hang out with me from 9 to 10 p.m. without your phone. And that really put me into gear, because I'm like, if you're with your family, you're with your family. And I think that's, you want to make 100K in less than 8 hours. You don't want to work all day. That's no way to live. You want to be focused, because what's the point of making 100K if you can't enjoy it with your family? Let's step it up. Let's go with Scott Eifler. Scott, what would it take for you to get to 100K net?
I'm not far, but I have a bigger nut than most people do.
Mm-hmm.
Last year I did 146.
Yeah.
Gross, of course, but I've got the building, I've got some other things.
Yeah.
I really need to be at about 200 to be at 100 is what I figure.
Okay.
I've got that much more to go. Finding people, qualified people, is really the next step. I have a few friends type people, good in one area, but not in all, Chris. I wish I could find somebody to list. I have a little bit older woman right now that can sort, separate, works her tail off, but computer illiterate. I mean, the hours it would take me probably, and I'm going to try real slow to get her on a computer. I think I'm going to be spinning my wheels, Chris. So I need to utilize her for the best of her ability. She's absolutely incredible at sorting, separating, getting ready for photos. She can't take photos. And it's a very part-time position. So I'll utilize her the way she is. But beyond there, I have the one other disability person to help with some of the hard goods, cutting back on their hours. I need to find somebody like me, I think most businesses do, that can fill your spot up then also.
Yeah.
That's the whole queue. I mean, and I have very dedicated people that work here, but they just are not rounded enough or smarter than I am. I always like to hire people that are really smarter than you to bring you up that one more level as well.
I agree. So I was looking at this metric, which I think is really cool. You guys should all write this number down, which is revenue per employee. I think this is a really cool number. Revenue per employee is what a person can generally make for you. In retail, which is what we all do, it's normally 200,000. So 200,000 is how efficient you are. Like, so you bring an employee in, does it add $200,000 revenue to your bottom line? And that sort of makes sense, because if you're doing this by yourself, it's hard to do more than 200K a year, because you're not really that efficient, because you have to do everything. But the thing is, this is what I thought was crazy. When you start moving into the top retail companies, it bumps up. It goes from 200,000 per employee to 300,000 per employee. And I think that's because people batch. People start doing one thing and getting really good at it. When you're solo, you have to do everything. So it's like not efficient, switching gears from listing to photography. It's exhausting. But if all you were doing is one thing, like yesterday was the second day with my new photographer, and she's on fire. And she was telling me, this job is the best. I don't have to do any thinking. She's like, after this job, I can go home and she's an engineer. So at night, she's designing whatever homework. She's like, this is one of the only jobs I've ever done where I'm not using any mental power. It's the same thing over and over again. So I could actually do this and go to school. But if it's creative, I was like, hey, the job is different all day. She would be exhausted. She would not be able to do anything at the end of the day. So
seems like anybody who've ever tried to put in that position of like listing,
yeah,
unless they want to do it, it's horrible.
yeah,
That is a complete different mindset for somebody to get into, and you really need to turn your mind into a computer to list and how to dig and where, and the terminology and the learning of names and styles and everything else. A completely different set of skill sets there. Completely different.
yep. So I will just say there's one like freak outlier when it comes to reselling, which is replenishables. So Shazad is in the chat. He's in the UK. Shazad, I have a couple of questions to ask you. Maybe you can email me at chris@dailyrefinement.com. But Shazad's doing what a lot of people do and sort of partnering with brick and mortar. So he has some relationships with retail pharmacies. So that's a way for him to get inventory. So I have seen people by themselves do $1 million a year, all online arbitrage, or they have a relationship with the brick and mortar, because it's like you're essentially leveraging Amazon or eBay to do all the marketing for you. And sometimes if you use Amazon, you're using their warehouse. You're leveraging somebody else's brick and mortar that they probably spent 200 grand starting. And you're just the middle person taking advantage of someone's brick and mortar and somebody else's platform. I mean, there's nothing that's more profitable than partnering with a brick and mortar and sending it into FBA. Nothing. That is the most profitable way to do on e-commerce ever. So Shazad actually owns 2 pharmacies. So never mind on that. He's the house. So it makes sense how he could get inventory.
Can I ask a question? What is he selling from pharmacies? Because I do know a huge pharmacist.
I'll ask him what he's selling. Ayub is asking about what is the solution of a suspended account. Most suspensions happen for a couple of reasons. They usually happen because your volume grows too fast or you're selling too much of one brand. So I would recommend slow growth and brand protection. Don't sell too much of one brand. Pretty much at 100K of any brand, you'll be suspended automatically on eBay, from what I've seen. I've seen people sell $100,000, completely legit, 100% feedback, perfect customer service, suspended because the brand doesn't want you selling that much of that on the platform. You're cutting into their profits. Pre-owned of the same brand, I've never seen. So that's like and for those of you that are in the Facebook group, starting on Amazon, or starting on Friday, we're going to have Amazon training. So Jack Weaver is one of those freak unicorns that did $1 million last year by himself on Amazon. So he's going to be running that call on Friday, and he's in the video game niche, and that takes some time to build up. And one of the reasons why he hasn't been suspended on Amazon is because he sells used goods. Used video games don't trigger anything. Used books don't trigger anything. That's why almost anybody can sell used books on Amazon, because there's no brand issues. Let's see. Beds is saying he got suspended for selling $500 too quickly, and they unbanned you. Yeah, I mean, eBay suspensions are automated. If you do too much traffic for no reason, like you don't have a track history of doing a lot of volume, they're probably going to suspend you first, then ask you questions, not the other way around. Yeah, you can. So Norm, as an example, I've seen a lot. Most of it is electronic sellers. If you start selling 100 grand worth of any brand, you can just expect to be suspended. Those brands don't want that. You're essentially, especially if you're pricing it too low, they're going to get rid of you because you're messing up their brand. Jesus is Lord Online says that he's in the video game niche. He made 10,000 last month, but all of a sudden it slowed down. I mean, it's going to be, in my opinion, a little bit slower each month until the summer because people aren't working. So I'm still confused as to why e-commerce is still on fire, because people, unemployment should run out eventually. People aren't really working. And also Q4 is over. We're in Q1 now. Also, that's right. You may have sold your best item. Someone in the chat has said. So let's go with Daniel. Daniel, good morning. What do you have to do to get your business to 100K net?
Good morning. I definitely need new suppliers. This year is the first time that I've done this full time, and it was beginning of pandemic. And so the whole landscape has changed. I used to just kill it on these Instagram walkthrough virtual sales. I would make thousands of dollars on like $300. And now I'm like, I have to overpay for everything on auctions. I did have one electronic supplier that was basically kept me so busy because they were huge audio items. So getting new suppliers, that I'm having a problem with inventory right now. I'm good right now because I've hit it really hard looking and got more things. But for me to get to 100,000, I would definitely need way more suppliers because my electronic supplier essentially has almost ran out now. So that's why I'm having to scramble. And since I sell so many different types of items now, everything that's my model, selling everything that I can make money on. Um, I can't just like fold do all clothing and have it go out in a specific. I can't even time. I how you can
Yeah,
time. I can't do that
that's
because
right.
one thing might be a Guitar Hero guitar that I have to make sure it doesn't get damaged. All different boxes, an 80-pound amp that I have to use Don's method to ship. So, if I'm thinking about getting staff, I wouldn't be able to have anybody do everything. They would just have to do specific things or help source for me. Because I wouldn't be able to pay them the $50 per hour to do everything, which is fair because you need to be an expert at shipping and all those different things. So
So
for sure,
would you want to be like a sniper and do like 100 items a week at $20 profit?
I would prefer that method
Okay.
because I want to keep it um, to myself right now. I just can't see myself like really
You
hiring anybody.
you might be a good enough picker to do 50, $40 items. If you were just like really, really damn picky and you had 50 different ways to get inventory and you just picked only $100 ASP, you could do that.
Yeah. Like last night I stayed up until like almost 1:30 going through every auction that I can find. And some of them I really might get five items. Actually, that's not true. Maybe 10 items per estate sale auction, and pick them up because I'm not going to go drive for 2 items.
Yep.
It has to be something significant, and it's kind of like a risk. Because sometimes you might just win one, which sucks. But yesterday I picked up about 12 items. But then yesterday I found one where I'm going to try to buy 20. They just had so much amazing stuff. So yeah, but I would like to expand beyond just online auctions because people know, and I focus on the ones like on the North Shore of Long Island. So there's so much competition with them. I can tell a lot of people are doing this right now. So my profit margin went down a lot. Like I would be happy to make like $60 on an item, and I'm not getting 40 of those a week for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, that I guess if you were going to be that type of model, you would just need to have a huge pool of things to look for, and that way you can do it
Yeah.
because um if you're going to do unique items by yourself that are not similar, then you
Yeah.
definitely need huge ASP, really high ASP, maybe
Yeah.
$100.
Yeah. And normally mine is pretty high. I don't know exactly what it is. But I sold a pair of speakers yesterday for 800. So that like really brings that up a lot. And that's how I've been managing to make, the $1,000 a week goal, which I have been making at least this year.
I love it. So just how do you double that? More sourcing, right?
Yeah, since I haven't had to source, like my sourcing really for the last 6 months has just been like, hey, do you guys have a pickup for me? I'd fill up my Prius like twice, and then just list it and wait for people to buy it, run sales, do promoted listings. But my store now, I'm top rated from my second store after I went to below standard. Um, yeah, so, but I'm definitely gonna have like a lot more time, like just on the computer looking for stuff. And for me, the problem is that like I started doing this for fun. So like finding interesting, cool items is still part of like the appeal for me. And like so like just niching down to like, all right, let me just sell baby stuff. That doesn't, that kind of like the fun is like a motivating factor for me. That's like one of my problems in this. But that's like my personality.
That's fair. I mean, if I was gonna, and I think being a pro picker, it makes you the most interesting person at the party. So there's something to be said about
Oh
that.
yeah,
Because
people love talking to me about what I do. They really, because they hate their jobs and they're boring.
yeah,
So
everyone hates their job. That's like a reality. The thing
yeah,
is, what's crazy to me is if you don't like your job, you choose to work there. It's
exactly.
so weird. Like there's other places you can work.
True, but like if you're like a nurse and you hate your being a
Your
nurse,
profession, yeah, I
you're
know that.
kind of
That's
screwed. So, but I'm trying to make nurse money doing like something that's fun.
yeah, that's true. A lot of nurses resell because they have that flexible schedule. So,
Yeah, the
and
3 days on, 3 days off sort of thing.
also they have a quite stressful job.
Oh yeah,
So, picking is very therapeutic. I mean, it's essentially retail therapy is your job.
yeah, and
Uh,
and you don't have to, you're not losing money on it essentially. Like I still get to shop, have all these like interesting things around, and then I get to make money on them. So I don't see where that's not like I don't lose there.
that's right. Okay, let's go with Scott Race. Scott Race. This call is kind of modeled after your goal of 2K a week. So, what do you have to do differently?
Um, I mean, the clear path is to just list 10 items at more than $30 net profit per item, which if capital is not an issue, it's actually kind of straightforward as long as the limiting factor is knowledge and knowing what to buy. And I think you could do it all just sourcing online. I really do, but you're going to be sitting on the computer 4 to 8 hours a day. Now, I don't think you have to do it every day, but the problem is it's kind of like going through a thrift store, right? Like you have to eat so much time and you have to go through so many items before you find those couple that actually work. But I think the model is good. It could completely work as long as you have just, very expert knowledge in a couple different brands.
Okay, and yeah, you're right. You also have to have enough capital to buy the inventory to sell X number of items a day. So,
Yeah. I'm
um,
spending, I don't know, $10,000 to $15,000 a month.
and
But
what do you think you need to make 100? Would you have to spend? I mean, sorry, to make 8.
um I think I could do it with just what I'm doing now. The issue is going to be that a lot of higher priced items are like winter goods, right? Like people are willing to pay more for jackets, fleeces,
Yeah,
those
that's
sorts
true.
of things. Summer clothing is going to be tough. So I don't know if it's just going to absolutely tank or maybe some stuff will trickle out with the global shipping program. Um, we'll see. I mean, right now I'm 60 to 70% on target for where I would like to be. And I've only been doing the online sourcing for 2 months. So maybe another 2 months, I'll be closer to where I want to be. And then when winter rolls around, I should be set. And maybe it's almost seasonal, that part of the business of like, okay, this 6 months, I can predict that it's going to be, 10 grand a month.
Last year, I got maybe 1,000 pairs of sandals and 100 pairs of Villabriquin. I don't know how to pronounce that brand shorts, and I think I paid $42 per pair of shorts, and they all sold for 210. It was crazy. They were so expensive, but they were on sale right now. So it's kind of like I should be thinking about that because I think you would need 50K to make 10. And how I would, the way that I look at that is, let's say you're buying online hoping to double your money, and you're that's really only possible on more expensive items, in my opinion, if you're trying to do 30. So buy for 30, sell for 80 or something. But you would need a certain amount of inventory to cover seasonality too. So you'd probably need 50K worth of inventory. You sell, a third of it or something, and then you get your 8K out of that.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you the small sample size for this month. So right now, my average net profit per item is $40. My cost per item on average is $41. My average sale price is 60, and I'm at 98% ROI. And again, that's some items that I'm in for 30 and are selling for 200. And then one item that sold for 600 that I paid $70 for. So I mean, there's some things skewing that, but I would say to spend 50 and make 35 is actually reasonable.
Yeah, that's exactly the math I came up with. If it's something that's like not very, somebody in the chat asked, would you spend $1 million to make 100K? Definitely for me. It depends on what it is though. If it's one listing and all I have to do is buy it and then relist it and ship it, I would even go lower. I'm okay with 6%. I've seen, because it's like guaranteed money to a degree. But if I have to do all the work, I want to triple my money. That's how I look at it. If I have to go to the thrift store, take it home, clean it, do all that, you gotta, for me.
Yeah, you gotta factor in your energy, like how much energy you're putting into something to get that reward. And if you can spend less energy and you have more capital, use the capital.
I agree. Yeah. And you use your capital to leverage stuff that's easier to sell, better relationships. You can order larger quantities. This is definitely easier if you spend more money. Michael Davis in the chat saying he's on track to do 1.2 million this year, but some of this is coming from his brick and mortar. That's really the hack. People already have supplier relationships. You just have to piggyback on them. That's how you do this. If you want to have that crazy rocket growth that people are like, how do I make a lot of money in a short period of time? That you have to basically take advantage of somebody else's hard work. That would be how you do this. Or the people who start, my friend Ahmad, his parents gave him $50,000 to start. Unless you have rich parents, it's very difficult to try to do that. But if you have a heavy amount of capital, or you leverage somebody's wholesale connections, you can do that as well. That's just something that I was thinking about with Ola. Ola's in the UK. She's a busy mom. Since you have limited time, you almost have to partner with someone that has supply, has some kind of systems. You may have to sell on Amazon because you don't have space at home. You can't run a store and a household at the same time. It doesn't work that way. It's difficult. So this is a great story. Ahmad got to 50K, went to the mall, bought all kinds of random clearance items, and then broke even. He spent 50K and didn't make any profit the first time. Then he told his parents, you should have just given me nothing. It would have saved me time. Because it didn't, he just got lazy with his purchasing. Then he had to go back and start over. Now he does like maybe 1.5 million a year on eBay, 100K a month, but it's all from just, Michael Kors, Coach, Kate Spade, buy for 20, sell for 30 shipped. That's very hard. You have to be really, really good at e-commerce to work on those kind of margins. That's not easy. So for, you can literally go to Michael Kors, Coach, Kate Spade, and look it up on your phone. And there's like 6 stores on eBay that sell the identical inventory. And you'll know, you don't even have to do price research. It'll show you what that item will sell for, but you have to be willing to work with under 10% margins. It's pretty crazy, but you wouldn't have to do any listing. You list everything that's at one time at the store, and that's it. Because when they release new bags or new wallets, it's the same wallet but a different color. So you could just change the listing to add that spec to it, and you'll be good. And also, you need to get around. You need to figure out gift cards and cash back when you're playing that game. Let's see. Yeah, people in the chat are talking about branding your own thing. That's one thing I was thinking about with Clubhouse and Instagram is it's all brand building. That's so valuable if you're gonna sell your brand to someone, if you have the social media attached to it. If Bill starts a pet store and it's Bill's Tasty Treats for poodles, and that gets 100,000 poodle lovers on it, that makes the brand more valuable. But if Bill's on Instagram slanging dog food, that's somebody else's company, he's just helping that company for free. He doesn't get any bonus. That's why, Bill, when you mentioned the social media help, it does help to your flea market booth because you have a brick and mortar, but it does not help you sell an individual item. So, Bill, how do you get to 100K net?
Okay, so 4 things really. I got to list more, which I'm doing, and I'm seeing results. In the last 10 days, my sales were off 20%. Now they're up 27%. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's almost a 50% swing. But remember, I'd spent 9 months last year focused almost exclusively on Amazon. So I really sabotaged my eBay business. So I've got nowhere to go but up if I do the things you're teaching me to do. I got to buy what people want rather than buy what I want to sell.
Okay.
As a hard lesson for me. I'm older, I'm an old dog. I've got to liquidate my bad inventory, which I'm doing through promoted listings. In the last 3 days, my promoted listings dropped 90,000 views.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Impressions, probably, not views.
Impressions.
Yeah.
And then I have to stay focused on eBay because, when I got sidetracked, I went from 0 to 37,000 on Amazon the first month. I just I'm going to be an Amazon guru. Well, that didn't last very long.
Yeah, that's the issue with Amazon is the brand, or it's either race to the bottom or the brand tells you can't sell it anymore. And then that's why having a brick and mortar is so important because you have to be able to buy wholesale legit.
Yeah, that's right. So I have my first, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
So in the motorcycle world, I have my first wholesale product that I just listed on eBay last night. And my son and I are doing some experimentation with promoted listings because I listened to the Facebook group last night. It was funny about Tech saying he promoted at 10%. And he also reveled in the fact that he misses putting people out of business through competition. I don't know if you heard it last night or not, but
I mean, I feel like if I go to the thrift store, I really don't want someone that goes after me to find anything. But I think that's a new trait that I picked up from him.
Yeah, the killer instinct.
Killer instinct.
So what's interesting is I raised on 3 of my items that I posted last night, I had $7.95 shipping and no promotion. And I couldn't even find them ranked anywhere under best match. I was like 6 pages deep. And so then I changed it. I gave free shipping, but then I thought there'd be a correlation between putting in like 10%. And that still didn't get me to the first page, except on 1 of the 3. And then I raised them to 12%. And all 3 of them left the first page. When I went from 10 to 12%, I didn't have any on the first page. It was very odd to me. Do you have any thoughts about it? Have you ever seen that happen?
Way too small of a sample size. You can't make any decisions off of that. But definitely, as far as promoted listings work, when you change your promoted listings rate, it will readjust. eBay will decide, okay, is it worth putting Bill's item in front of this customer for 12% instead of 10? But if it doesn't convert at 10%, they're not necessarily going to just give you more customers at 12%. They might think your item is garbage and not present it at all.
Okay.
So it depends on, it's like, it makes me wonder on aged inventory, could you just promote it at 50%? I tried that today. On 100 of my old items, I raised the price by double. and I put 50% promoted listings. Is that going to work? I don't know. Am I going to get offers? Because now there's a huge traffic of to these old items. I have no idea. So it depends on where you're at. Shazad in the chat has success at. He is doing 200,000 a month. He only promotes at 1%. I know sellers that do $1 million a month with 0 promoted listings. You don't have to have promoted listings. In fact, some people don't like promoted listings because it looks fake. Like, I don't want to buy this item. Like, eBay's trying to feed me something I don't want. So, yeah, promoted listings is a booster. I think you do need it to some degree, but eBay is going to release pay-per-click soon. So it'll be even more confusing. Now you'll have promoted listings and pay-per-click trying to literally you buy the click for that spot. I mean, they're thinking of ways to make money without making the website better. See, Michael is doing 100K or 70 to 100K a month with no promoted listings in the chat. So you don't have to do that. Also, Shazad's sales conversion rate is 17% and mine is 2%. So it depends on what category you're in. I would say 2% in my category is pretty good. And Michael might jump off a bridge or Shazad might jump off a bridge if he's used to 17%, then switches to a 2% category. An Apple Watch has one of the highest sell-through rates I've ever seen. If you guys just want to see something that has like a 500% sell-through rate, if you list an iWatch and it doesn't sell in the first 48 hours, and you've listed it wrong. That's like how fast they sell. There's just so few of them, and people want a deal. Michael says you're better off having the best item at the best price. I agree with that to a certain degree. That doesn't make sense if you're selling rare, unique goods, because I think pull out of your ass pricing, POA pricing is better for rare, weird items. If you're selling stuff that common items though, good price, good selection, good item, it's going to sell. Statty's asking what pay-per-click is. Pay-per-click means that you literally you bid, like I'm willing to bid 16 cents for someone to click on my listing. This is the, because you guys know that impressions is what promoted listings gives you. It doesn't guarantee you a click. Pay-per-click guarantees you the click, but you have to pay a certain amount to get it. So you have to do a good job because you don't want to pay for the click and then people don't buy it. That's like really painful. Because right now you don't actually pay for promoted listings unless it converts. Pay-per-click, you pay regardless if it converts. So, you got to be a pro before you use that feature. Shazad would probably only pay pay-per-click if it was, you might do it with that kind of conversion rate. You might say, you know what, I'll, at 17% conversion rate, maybe I'll raise my prices 1 or 2% and pay 13 cents a click or something if he's converting at that amount. So Wiki's asking about what is an impression. So I'll give you an example. You're scrolling down, you see 5 listings. All 5 of those listings get 1 impression. If you click on one, that counts as click-through rate. So an impression is how often your listing shows up. So if you're not in the top half, if you're not in the first 10 listings, people probably will not see your listing with most items. That's why it's so competitive, because lazy people who have unlimited money will just buy the first one because they don't have time to scroll through and look for the best deal. So you can do that. I've seen successful sellers that are the most expensive in every single thing they sell. So you don't have to be lowest price either, but lowest price, best item usually converts. Michael's doing it the old school way. So Bill is talking about best match. Best match is complicated. Best match is based on what sells well, what's priced the best, what ships the fastest, who has the best customer service, who has the best response time. I think there's probably a couple dozen factors that go into best match, but then the number one is how often it sells.
Okay, so the top 10 listings, in which view? because, they can sort by distance, by lowest price, highest price.
That's a great question, Bill. So, okay, I consulted with this like $100,000 a day eBay store for a minute. So he's like, okay, I want to dominate this category. I want all the listings to be mine. Okay, so what we did was we got all the lowest priced ones were him. He had the 10 cheapest ones. Okay, then we did the 10 most expensive ones were also his. Then we built up replenishables. So on best match, those ones rank the highest. At one point, 60 of the top 100 listings were his. He was killing it. The category was ridiculous. He was getting like all the sales because no matter how you searched, he always ranked in the top. But and that would really only make sense though if you were like Shazad in the chat and you had replenishables because you can spend the time ranking it. If you're selling one-off items, you can't spend an hour or two ranking something per listing. It doesn't work.
It would be tough to do in clothing, but if you had shirts that you sold for $6.99 shipped, you paid a quarter for, like if you went to a rag house or something, you might be able to do that. And then if you had, whatever top designers in right now, it would be possible to maybe do that.
You could have the full range of cheapest and also the most rare. You could sell, fear of God stuff that's all $2,000 to $10,000, and you could also sell White House black market, a mall brand. Maybe actually, here's a better example: Alfani. You can buy Alfani all day at Macy's liquidation.com. Right? So it has an MSRP that's completely ridiculous of like $60, but sells for 18 on eBay. So this item, you could have it priced at $9.99 plus shipping and probably rank pretty well for new tag. But again, you could price it up more reasonably at $19.99 and wait. There's a lot of different games to play. Michael's saying he wants to chat earlier. Bro, 6 a.m. is early enough my time. Let's go with Matt. Matt, if you were only eBay, what would you do to make $100,000 net?
I was gonna do a joke, but it's all right. It would have been funny, but anyway, I'm not gonna go there. Really, I'm already there. It's not hard for me. You got a high average sale price. You keep over 50% of your gross as profit. Pretty easy. All you need is what, 16, 18K a month. For me, that would be
right.
That'd be like 350 items, if that. So that's less than 100 a week.
That's right. So 50% profit. So that means you need a higher ASP. And just make sure you're paying the right amount for it. That's pretty straightforward. So 100 a week of high profit items. Yeah.
Less than that, man. Less than 100 a week. You can knock that out in a day and a half.
That's true. Well,
right?
If you have the supply. Yeah.
Takes me what, about 7 hours for the supply, for the sorting.
I love it.
And that's double. So it would take me about 3.5 hours of sorting, about 3 hours of photos, and about 3 hours of listing. So yeah, 9, 10, or 11 hours, including customer service and shipping. That's all it would take.
All right. Let's go with Tony Sheldon. What's up? What could you do to get to 100K, or what do you need to do to make 100K net?
Good morning. Just a little bit more than I'm doing now, I think. I'm listing 30 a day, which I'm kind of struggling on getting enough product to do that. But I think if I was listing 40 a day, for me, I haven't been listing 30 a day that long, so it's going to take time is the other thing. Because I think, realistically, I would probably have to have like 4,000, 5,000 in inventory to be selling that 27, 30 a day. So yeah, time. I need to find inventory, improve my sourcing, improve my processes, get that a little faster to where I'm not spending as much time sourcing, listing, and all that. Because right now, 30 a day is kind of tough. It's chewing up a lot of time. Outside of that, yeah, it's just going to take time to build up that inventory. Now that I've got the storage units, I'm going to be spending a lot in new racks and storage systems, because I'm tripling or quadrupling my inventory. But yeah, I think I'll be there close to the end of this year.
All right, I love it. So we're gonna go to Ola for a moment. Hopefully she can chat. Um, Ola, I gave you that reference to this lady I know locally that she makes these custom wreaths. And I
Yeah.
was telling her she needs to partner. Somebody needs to carry those. Like she has her design set and she needs to find brick and mortar stores to carry them because she can't make them and market them and do everything, store them, all that, and have two kids. She's got to be an inventor.
Yeah.
So
I
what are you
went to check
thinking
her
of?
page yesterday.
Yeah.
I did check her page yesterday. She's very creative,
Hmm.
but I really don't know what I can do with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need something that will, like you said, something they've done already that will just sell off with no stress at all. But at the moment, I don't even know what I'm doing because I'm very new, like I said. I don't even know what I'm doing regarding listing, regarding selling as well.
Where are
I
you
don't
in the
understand it.
UK?
I'm in East London.
East London. Have you heard of
Yes.
Trap Kitchen, the restaurant?
Trapped Kitchen, no.
Trap.
Where
So
are they?
TRAP Kitchen. They're in
Okay.
London. They're a I'm gonna mute you for a second because of the background noise, but they're a takeout restaurant in London. And so this guy was let's see, he was making food out of his mom's kitchen. And I think this is interesting because right now we're in COVID and it's difficult to eat out. So he's doing 50,000 pounds a week selling food out of his mom's apartment. Okay. It's amazing. And it's so successful that even here in Oakland, I'm like 5,000 miles from England. Somebody copied it here and they're killing it because they can essentially use the delivery services to deliver food and their own house, their own kitchen. That's insane. So that really blew my mind that people are being creative right now. Can you imagine that? It's just that person is doing insane revenue at home, just Instagram, and it's called Trap Kitchen. They post one food picture a day, and people just line up and order it. It's amazing. So you just got to be creative. You got to think of something that you can reproduce or produce rather. But yeah, Ola, it's gonna be. I think you're more limited, so you need to. I think you need to think outside of the box. There's no. You can't just list like crazy with the space that you have. I can't wait till all opens up again and I'll visit the UK again. It's like one of my favorite places. Let's see. Bill is saying, what about licensing for Trap Kitchen in California? I don't think that person got licensing. I think they just straight up copied it. But I think that maybe they did. Hopefully they did. But it's just, it's essentially seafood and fries. So it's just like lobster and fries, shrimp and fries, shrimp and chicken strips. Pretty straightforward comfort food, which is what people want right now because they're stressed out, overly stimulated. So they want that junk food. And I don't know how he does it, but it's amazing, Dan. You should look at his Instagram. Like just I can't imagine making $50,000 a week at home. It's just awesome. But anyway, guys, does anybody else have any thoughts or things they want to add today? The challenge today is to get everyone to think about what it would take to do 100K net. You don't have to, whatever is comfortable for you. I just think it might even be useful to think, what does it take to make $1 million a year? Christine, you have some thoughts?
Oh, you saw that.
Yeah.
It was, it's kind of remedial and I'm a little embarrassed to ask.
Yeah.
But what you've said is to reverse engineer
Yeah.
numbers.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting here and I've been trying to figure out, I'll just go on what tech always says. I'm not that smart. When I'm trying to reverse engineer, how do you exactly do that? I mean, I'm sitting,
Okay.
okay, I need $2,500 sales a week to make
Right.
100 and I think it ended up being 120 a year.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm like, okay, so how do I go from there?
Great. That's a great question.
It's
So
remedial.
let's just start with 100K gross. Okay. So 100K gross, if you break it down, let's just say it's $8,500. Actually, let's go even simpler. $2,000 a week over the course of a year, 50 weeks. That's 100K. So $2,000 dollars per week. You think about how many items that is. So it would be $120 items. It could be 50 $40 items. It could be two $1,000 items. And honestly, don't rule out an ASP under 1,000 because I've seen it. You could sell only items that are over $1,000. So you figure out the revenue, divide by how many items there is. And Christine, there's a book that I'm reading right now, which I think is fantastic. It's called The Daily Grind. It's about how coffee shops work. And this idea of a coffee shop sells 200 coffees in a day really resonates with me because once the coffee shop open or sells 200 coffees a day, they just open another one. Because I'm like, holy cow, I can be done. I can reach some level and I don't have to do anything anymore. That's like that's good. If I want to open another one, open another one. If I want to sell Christmas trees, that's fine. Let me get the 200 pieces of clothing first, then I'll sell Christmas trees. There's like a finish line. And Jerry Seinfeld said, imagine if you went to a trainer and you're like, how long is this going to take? And the guy didn't give you an answer. You'd be frustrated. But if he's like, oh, it's an hour workout, it's a 2-hour workout, this is a 6-week program, that's nice because you kind of have some kind of finish line. So I love the coffee shop model because a coffee shop can only serve so many people. And it's just a cool concept. And it makes you think that you want to do one thing specifically too. So Christine, reverse engineering starts with the final piece. Then what do you do per month? What do you do per week? What do you do per day? What do you do per hour? How do you get the suppliers?
Okay, month, week, day, and then hour.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how I came up with seven per hour for me to reach my goal.
Okay.
Yeah. And I always ask those questions because that's like a thing. If you can reverse engineer the actual numbers, then it becomes more clear what you're supposed to be doing all day.
Yeah, and I think that's going to really help me too to get more focused on what I need to systemize so that I can get there. You see what I'm saying? Like on my systems here, how so I can get there. Yeah, so thank you.
You're welcome. And I think of it, all of my stuff like that, like diet, how do I lose weight? How many calories am I eating? What do I do all day? Reverse it. And then I want to think about how much time do I want to spend with my family? You don't want to spend all day with your family because then they'll stop liking you. But you also don't want to not spend any time with them because then they'll stop liking you. You got to have that healthy mix of everything. So yeah, I think it's important for everyone to think about the different pieces because if you can, okay, so as an example, I know what it takes to make $100 million a year. Doesn't mean that I that's going to be something that I want to do, but you can look at how people do it. I know how Jeff Bezos is this richest or second richest person in the world. He essentially has 1 million employees. I mean, you're probably going to make an extraordinary amount of money if literally everyone works for you. Everyone's adding to his money. So, and then to get there, you need help. So when you realize Jeff Bezos only owns 18% of Amazon, that goes, look how many other people are involved to get him to that stage. You're trying to do everything by yourself. It's so limiting.
Right.
Sorry for that rant. Leanne in the chat says that Trap Kitchen has 2 affiliates now already. So in the UK. So, but I imagine it'll be like Krispy Kreme in the sense that it'll blow up right now, but then when people start to realize that they can only eat it once a year, they'll get fat. It'll be less trendy. Sounds really good though. Now I would like to have lobster and fries for lunch for $20. That sounds like a great comfort food deal. But yeah. All right, everyone, have an awesome day. Let me know in the chat if you find this useful online, and hit the like button. I'll see